Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to another Alchemy Guide. Today, we're going to be talking about safety tools. Now, safety tools are something that you can use within your games to make sure that everybody is comfortable at the table with the subject matter at hand. Now, Alchemy provides you with a few ways of tackling this, one of which are content warnings for the game at hand, another would be lines and veils, and the last would be X cards. Now, those are all those different types of things that you can either do preventatively prior to the game even starting, or even reactionary. If there's a moment in the game where it makes you uncomfortable, it makes a player uncomfortable, we have ways of handling all those. Now, that being said, just know that these are absolutely optional and you can choose whether or not you even implement them in your own game. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first thing I want to tackle is going over here to the bottom left, and this is going to be in your profile. You're going to set up your own lines and veils. And what are lines and veils? Well, essentially a line is something that you won't want in a game period at all, meaning you don't want it to even be mentioned. That is like, you've crossed the line sort of thing. So we don't want to cross any lines in this. And we have this tab up here called safety. Clicking into it allows you to set your lines and veils. And I've already explained lines, but veils themselves are things that are a little bit more obscure, something that might not necessarily be comfortable at the table, but just something that you don't really want to dive far into it. We don't want to describe too much into it. You can touch on those things, but kind of just surface level sort of descriptions. So if you check out this line right here area, there's a little drop down menu. You can select whatever you want from here. So a lot of people, whenever they are choosing their lines and veils, they can select from this large list of things. Let's say, for instance, we don't want racism in our game. This will, make sure that whenever I join a game, people know that racism shouldn't be in the game. Now, this, again, is a lines and veil system that is completely anonymous. So whenever you join a game or whenever you add these lines or veils, it doesn't tell people, oh, yeah, Johnny is, says we can't have racism. These are completely anonymous and actually are thrown into a pool of lines and veils for the game once you're in. So all the players who have set up their lines and veils, all the lines and veils will be shown so that everybody can see what is a line for the group as opposed to a person. So let's say, for instance, we add racism as a line and we have a veil of maybe we don't want to go too far into talking about eyeballs. So it can be whatever you want. That being said, if you don't see it here on the list, maybe there's something that we haven't explained or explored, you can easily type something in. Let's say I'm a line and I could just put my name in and push enter and it'll show up just the same. So with that being said, you can click the check mark here at the bottom and it'll be set to your account. So any game that you join, these safety tools, these lines and veils will be shown to make sure that you don't have to repeat yourself or you don't have to go back and do it again per however many games you play. So let's go ahead and jump into a game and show how these are displayed and show how we can go about seeing other people's as well. So I'm going to join this game right here. By joining this game, we're going to see right off the bat another type of safety tool. And you can see right here, content warnings at the bottom. So our GM has either set these content warnings for the game, or the game itself might even come with some content warnings to show that, hey, you purchased Morkborg, and Morkborg has some themes that you might find disturbing. But we try and go and show you exactly what the game is before you jump in and something so you can expect. Now, that said, the GM has set up the content warnings for this game: demons, gore, claustrophobia, romance, and torture. That's fine. So we're going to click join game. Now, once we're in the game, in order to locate or find the safety tools for the game, you're going to go to the bottom here to this cog. This cog will show you safety tools. If you click into that, this is where that pool of safety tools will come up and content warnings for the game. So content warnings we already saw just as soon as we joined, but as you can see, we have the lines and veils like before, but there are more lines and veils shown. That's because more people have entered their own lines and veils. Now, we said Dan and racism is our lines and veils, or is our line, and then eyeballs is our veil. But you can see genocide, harm to children, homophobia, sexual assault. These things are lines and won't be touched during the game. And the veils here are bugs, torture, and eyeballs. Now, as you can see, there is a veil of torture and a content warning of torture. Now, just because it's in the veils doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be touched during the game, but you need to make sure that when you are talking about it or you're going into it, that you're being respectful. You're going about it in a way that you know that somebody at the table might feel a little uncomfortable about the subject, but you continue on and you want to make sure that you're taking care of and or making sure that the table is comfortable with you speaking about the torture here. But that goes with anything. And as you can see, the GM has also made the game mature. So there's a tag right here at the top that makes it known that the game is for mature audiences. So with that being said, we have talked about the lines and veils, the content warnings and such, and we even talked about how you can mark a game for mature. But the one thing we want to talk about, because these are all kind of preventative, the one thing we want to talk about that is more reactionary or in the moment is the X card. And the X card can be found pretty much in the same space. If you go to that cog again and right above safety tools, you'll have the X card. And the X card can be activated by clicking on it. And as you can see, it says X card sent anonymously. And what that means is that everybody using the program will automatically see a pop-up show in the middle of their screen. This pop-up will make sure that they can't click anything else outside of that X card. And just like this, it says someone in the game is not comfortable with the current subject matter. That means that whatever's being discussed or said at hand should probably stop or slow down or say, hey, you know what, guys, let's change the subject. And at that point, everybody needs to click OK before you can move on and continue doing things like typing in the journal or making rolls or whatever it is. So just know that it's sent anonymously. And so if any point you're feeling uncomfortable with the scenario, go ahead and click that button and your GM can help steer the scene away from whatever subject you're speaking on. Now, that is the X card. We talked about the lines, the veils, the content warnings, and the X card. And the last thing I want to kind of just touch on is the fact that, again, there are some game systems that have content warnings built into the game so that that way the GM doesn't have to go in and say, oh, we're playing Morkborg. Here are some of the things that might pop up. You can actually see that in the marketplace itself, once you go over to it and you actually activate something that would have content warnings in it. Let's go ahead and click Eat the Reich. Now, Eat the Reich is known to have some pretty dark themes. Like, as you can see in this description, it says you're a team of crack vampire commandos with one mission: drink all of Hitler's blood. So it might get a little touchy from time to time with certain subjects. So if you scroll all the way down here, you'll see content warnings. And again, this is what will automatically pop up when you open a game that consists of Eat the Reich in this case. So for instance, death, violence, grievous injuries, blood, vampirism, mental domination, guns, animated corpses, werewolves, occult magic, fascism, Nazis, and yes, Adolf Hitler himself. So make sure that you are taking care of your players as a GM. Make sure that everybody is comfortable at the table as a player, and do your best to ensure that everybody's having a good time with whatever the subject matter might be. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching another Alchemy Guide. If you have any questions or anything like that, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you enjoy these little guides, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.